Hello and welcome back to Ginger's Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a family favorite, 2 versions of croissant casserole. This I made many years ago. The first one is going to be a sausage version of the recipe that I usually use ground beef in, and then the one you see pictured here is ground beef. I came up with this recipe many years ago. Spray the pan with a non-stick spray. Now in this pan I have some ground sausage. And the other recipe is for ground beef. But I started thinking about an old pizza, frozen pizza I used to have when I was a kid at my grandmother's. It was a famous brand, but they don't make pizza anymore. We'd have it either on a Friday or a Saturday night. My grandmother would make it for us, and it had this crispy ground sausage on top. Over the years, I used to make one sausage and one ground beef version of this recipe, and I don't know why I stopped making the sausage. But I just wanted to see if I could get the flavor of that frozen sausage pizza from my childhood. Living with my grandmother, and I noticed that she had hamburger in the fridge taken out for dinner. And I wanted to do something different with the hamburger. I miss my grandmother's Sunday roast beef, and I would love to have her Sunday roast beef. But she is no longer with me. She would be like 110 years old. I was thinking that the last thing I wanted for a third night was just regular tasting hamburger. So I opened the fridge, and we had always had real good cheddar cheese. She ordered it every week. It was an aged cheddar, and it was cut off of a wheel. There was also a can of refrigerator roll dough. And in the pantry, a jar of spaghetti sauce. And this is how this recipe came to be. Now, my grandmother didn't drive, and she worked all day. So she ordered her groceries, or she dropped off a list the night before at the grocery store on the way home, and they would deliver our groceries. You know, I never realized she was quite ahead of her time. Now cook the sausage until it's done thoroughly. Obviously, drain any grease that, could be drained. Next time I might try making my own sausage, grinding my own pork and adding the seasonings. Now I added the spaghetti sauce to the fully cooked sausage. Just enough. You don't want to make it soggy. Because I'm making a smaller version, the roll dough will come up on the sides and wrap, and some of my family like it that way. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. And now I just noticed in my grocery store, they sell this in sheets now. And I've been making this recipe more decades than I care to share. It was long before most people were doing anything with refrigerated dough in recipes. This came to be when I was very young, just because I didn't want plain hamburger, because I had already had roast beef twice that week. Some family members like the version with more dough when it wraps around the top. Because I'm trying to replicate that pizza taste that I had, I'm not using cheddar cheese. I'm using a grated cheese because on that pizza, the sausage got very crisp on top. So now I'm just going to fold the edges over, and it's not going to cover the whole top. And make sure that you don't have any dough doubled up. That'll keep the dough from getting fully cooked. The middle will be open. I hope this video is making sense because I had to do a voiceover on most of it. I had a microphone malfunction. Here is the sausage one all done. Make sure your dough is thoroughly cooked on the bottom as well. So I start checking it after 15 minutes. It took about 25 minutes in my oven, but ovens vary. Again, you just have to make sure that the dough is fully cooked because all the other ingredients were pre-cooked. I did take a little taste, and it definitely is the casserole I used to make with the sausage, but it didn't quite remind me of that pizza, so I'm going to try again. Another day. Now for the original ground beef version. In the full-size casserole dish, the refrigerator dough is going to just cover the bottom. And this is croissant refrigerator dough. So now I'm going to cook the ground beef. And you won't hear the sizzle because I had to do the voiceover. Cook ground beef until it's fully cooked, and then I'm going to add the spaghetti sauce. Now I'm adding in the spaghetti sauce. Not too much, and you want to make sure it's thick because you don't want to make that top layer of dough mushy. Now I put the meat mixture on top of the dough, and I've shaken grated cheese on top. This is Romano and Parmesan grated cheese. Now add a good sharp cheddar cheese and put it on there so that each serving is going to get some cheddar cheese. I used my grandmother's cheese slicer to get uniform slices. But an easy shortcut would be to buy the pre-sliced cheddar cheese slices. Just make sure it's a good quality cheddar cheese. It makes a difference. When I first did this, I had no idea how long to cook it. So I set it by the dough instructions, but it's going to take longer than of course the rolls take. You have to make sure that that dough gets cooked on the bottom because of the ingredients covering the top of that dough. Now as with the other one, I set my timer for 15 minutes, and that's when I start checking on it. As I was setting the timer, I realized I forgot the oregano, so I grabbed it back out of the oven. I'm putting on some dried oregano from Italy that I get at my local butcher when they have it. So this is the first time I took it out, and it's not quite done, so it's got to go back in. And I'll make sure I give you the total time in the video. There, it's out of the oven, and it looks like the dough is cooked through. 25 to 30 minutes in my oven. So thank you for staying to the end of this second recipe, which is the original. And thank you for visiting Ginger's Kitchen, and I hope to see you again.